Ernest. I'm
Hi,
good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
And happy Teal and White Tuesday. Isn't that so
Feeling
cool?
like Tuesday. I see that you're wearing your Survivor shirt. I'm wearing my
Yes.
favorite teal sweater. I wore it
Oh,
all day at work. I even challenged some coworkers to wear teal on Teal and
oh,
White Tuesday, and some of them totally came through. It was
I
amazing.
love that. I think my coworkers have found out that I'm wearing teal and white on Tuesdays. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden I see them like, are we like getting in sync? They don't say why, but I see them wearing their teal shirt. I'm like, yeah,
I love that. That's awesome.
yeah,
So, do you ever tell them why?
I do. Actually, when they do ask, some don't ask because they like, someone told them or what happened with me and everything. But when they do ask, yes, always. I'm a cervical cancer survivor. I tell them about my story and everything I went through, and I always end up get vaccinated. Take your wife. I only work with men, mostly men, so I always talk to them about it and tell them you have to get vaccinated. You have to get your kids vaccinated, and it's actually a very good talk, and they're very receptive. So yes. How about you? Do you share?
Do. Yep. If anyone asks, and actually I've been kind of vocal about it because I want people to get vaccinated as well. So yes, I have told them my story. I even shared my story in a newsletter last year. And then this year I definitely challenged them to wear their teal and white on Tuesdays. But yeah,
That's
I let them know that, we can eliminate cervical cancer if only we were to go get vaccinated. And everyone should, not just girls, but boys too. And I know that a few coworkers have told me that yes, they've gotten their kids vaccinated, which is so
wow.
rewarding. Yes.
Isn't that exciting? I mean, I've been giving these talks at university and I tell them about the vaccine, and then you get this message like, hey, I got vaccinated. I went to my gynecologist. I did this. I'm like, yes, this is why. I mean, this is the reason because one person vaccinated is one person that less worry about HPV related cancers.
It's true. Yep. Yeah. I love when I hear, yes, we went and got our screenings or we went and got the pap smear and um the fact that they voluntarily come up and tell me that stuff now is just amazing. And I'm always excited for them and cheer them on. Yes, you did this. Um, um, which, cheering on pap smears is kind of
Yeah,
strange, but I'll be your cheerleader.
let's go PAP.
Okay.
One of the things that I find curious is here in my country, we don't tend to talk about this openly. It's kind of like taboo. You don't talk about below the belt.
Yes.
We don't talk about it, but I don't shut up about it. So I was like, I have these talks with my coworkers, my crews, and I tell them, okay, this is January. I told them last week in our toolbox meeting, Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. So I'm going to talk to you about HPV and everything. So yeah, I think that once we change the narrative and don't make it like a stigma because we went through it, but we're saying, hey, get vaccinated. HPV is cancer prevention, right? So why not? HPV
Yeah,
vaccination is cancer prevention. Sorry.
100%. Yeah, and I hate that there's still a stigma about HPV, about the vaccination, and even lately, well, not lately, I should say that some comments that I've read on online, which is not a trustworthy source, but some people still seem to think that cervical cancer is stigmatized or should be stigmatized rather, and that just makes me really angry. And I'm not one to normally argue with people, but I am ready to go in fighting when I read that.
And mode.
Survivor, you guys have given me the tools to go in and set them
Yeah,
straight.
I like
Yeah.
that. And when you find people that are don't want to, pay attention or want to make a stigma out of it,
Mhm.
what do you do? I mean, why do you do it? Why do you share it?
Oh, I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through. Um, I mean, there are so many different forms of treatment, right? You can choose, well, you and your doctor would choose
Yeah.
between hysterectomy or between, the more standard chemo. I shouldn't say more either. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words right now.
I
rather
definitely.
standard chemo, radiation, brachytherapy, and quite honestly, I did the latter, and I don't want anyone to ever go through, especially brachytherapy. I did not. That was the hardest part of my treatment. So yeah, I that is why I tell people to go get screened or go get your vaccination, go get your kids vaccinated because I don't want you to endure what I went through. Um, because it's long lasting. It just keeps going.
I know.
And we're in a safe space here, right? I mean, there's not much intimacy with my husband anymore, and that's really hard. That's not something that I like to admit.
I totally get that because, well, once coming out of surgery, out of treatment and everything, you don't want anyone else to touch or see down there because it hurts. I mean,
It hurts.
radiation. I don't know if we're allowed to say bad words, but radiation's a bitch. I mean, it hurts a lot and everything. And intimacy, I think it's a big issue after our cancer treatment. So it's not only we went through our diagnosis, our cancer treatment, but now we also have to deal with the aftermath
Mhm.
of everything that goes on. And I feel the same. The reason I share is because I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through. I want my nieces and nephews to know that they're going to grow up cancer free, HPV free. So, and I want that for everyone.
Yes, me too. Yep. Yeah, I don't want people to fear having this sort of cancer or any HPV related cancer for that fact, but I don't
Yeah,
want my girls to experience what I've experienced ever. And, so yes, I am giving them the tools to not have to go through that. And you are too. You're giving your
yeah,
nieces and nephews those tools as well. So,
yeah. And I think sharing is caring because if I share, it's because I don't want them to go through what I went through. I mean, you talked about brachytherapy in Honduras when I went through the treatment that was not available for me.
oh, wow.
Um, so I went through radiation, external radiation. And I remember that the final radiation was like accelerated radiation. That's something my doctor used.
Right.
And due to that treatment, is I developed a rectal vaginal fistula. So talk about issues of intimacy after that. It's even
Yeah.
harder for me to go through it. So um, yeah, I mean, it sucks. Sometimes going through all that, it sucks.
You are such an incredible woman, for talking about
You
what
are.
you went through. Um,
Uh,
I'm just so proud to know you, Carla.
I'm glad to know you. Oh, I love you. I love my survivor family. I think the because we share our stories, because I found Survivor while I was after my hysterectomy and I was going online, and then you start seeing all these stories come up. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not alone. This is like, I mean, I always say it's a horrible thing that God got us together, but I don't feel alone anymore because nobody wanted to talk to me about it. I remember telling my doctor, please tell any other cervical cancer patients, this is my number. Tell them I would love to talk to someone. And nobody wanted to talk. One thing, I was 35, I was considered young
Yep.
in that. And the other thing is that you're going to talk about your cervix, your vagina, or anything. Even saying the word, sometimes I'm like, okay, nobody's listening. You're at home because it's kind of stigmatized, right? Even using the word. So
Yeah.
um,
It's like
just
that here.
finding Survivor. Oh, and my sisters and family, I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's totally like that here in the Midwest too. And I mean, you have to be modest and
Yeah,
not talk about your cervix or your vagina
yeah,
or any sort of sexual reproductive organ. And yeah, I remember trying to find someone here in Kansas. And like you, I felt so alone. I didn't know who I could turn to. And even those who would admit that, yes, they had cervical cancer or, had those abnormal cells or precancerous lesions or something. I mean, they didn't want to tell me about their experience. So I felt so isolated and
oh yeah,
it was just hard. It was really hard going through that, feeling so alone and afterwards feeling so alone. So yeah, I agree with you to find Survivor, to find women my age. I was
Yeah,
34 going into 35 also, so we were around the same age when we went through
yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's, I think that's an amazing thing that technology,
Mhm.
that the internet, that this exists now. Because I can't imagine here in Honduras, if it were 20 years ago, who would I talk? It would have been worse. I wouldn't be able to talk to anyone about it. And even though
Yeah.
you can talk to your family, they will support you, or you have your support group. But it's different when you talk to another person going through it, right? Even though our
Yeah.
stories are similar and different, it brings us together. Like it unites us.
Yeah. Do you ever, I know that you didn't just have cervical cancer, you also had thyroid cancer, is
Thyroid
that right?
cancer. Well, thyroid was the first cancer they found. Um, it was oh wow, okay, I didn't expect that. So because of thyroid cancer they found later that I had cervical cancer, but my thyroid cancer found when they actually did biopsies on my neck, and I had all these
Uh-huh.
bruises and it came out there was nothing there, but the doctor still wanted surgery and it came out there was like cancer, so they took it out. And while they were prepping me for radioactive iodine, which is the treatment for thyroid cancer, my oncologist said, Carla, you know what? I want you to have everything done. I want to check because if there's something else growing, the iodine will make it grow faster. So I started going to all my doctors, and the last one I did go to was my gynecologist.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's because I work a lot and I didn't want to go to a doctor because it was like, oh man, I have to go to a doctor and I have to travel. And so I just left it. I left it there. I left it there. I never went to a gynecologist. And in the in my pap, this is not normal. I see something here I don't like, and you're bleeding. I want to schedule you for a biopsy. And it came out cancer. So everything with my thyroid, which is had to stop, and it was immediate to take care of my cervical cancer diagnosis.
Oh,
So it was
my.
like one thing, and it was like in December I had my this was 34. December I had my thyroid removed, and then 2 months later I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. So it was just like one thing after the other, and I had to stop working, so I had to take time.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm actually very happy because after almost 6 years, I finally have a balance between my thyroid hormones, because I have to deal with not having a thyroid and all, and I take permanent synthetic hormones. But I have to also deal with menopause because I don't know, menopause is hell. So they both clash up. But right now I'm actually balanced. I'm so happy. My endocrinologist and my doctors are like, Carla, we're getting there. It's working. They finally found something, but it's been 6 years to get that balance. So it's been hell. But I'm
Congratulations.
doing great. How about you? How are you doing now?
I'm doing really well. Still no evidence of disease. I'll have my next checkup here, I think in February, but
Oh,
I'm not
mine too.
which is a first. In 7 years, I've always been worried, but this is the first time that I'm just like, you know what? I feel good. I'm good.
Oh,
So
I love that.
I feel like that's a big breakthrough.
Yes, I believe so it is. Because I get very nervous right before, like when I'm getting into the doctors and they're gonna do the checkups. But once he's like, it looks okay. Let me see when we get the results. I'm like, he says it's okay. I'm okay. When I get the results, I'm like, okay, clear.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, are you sure? Do you need to check anything else? Are you sure I'm okay? But yeah, this year I feel so much more confident about things. And
Yay.
I don't know if it's because, I'm 7 years past everything. And so it's just kind of, we're getting there,
Wow.
we're finally moving past a lot of the trauma. And, the cervical cancer diagnosis is traumatic. So, um, I think my headspace is finally getting to where it needs to be.
I'm happy for you. Well, I know you're married and you have kiddos. How does, if it's not so much to ask, how did your diagnosis affect your process of being with your family, your your relations?
Yeah, I was diagnosed when my oldest was 3. She had just turned 3, and my twins were around 9 months, 10, yeah, 9 months. And that was that was pretty horrific.
I
Put it
bet.
like, and having infants, my husband really had to step up and be the primary caretaker of all 3 girls, because there were just some days that I just during treatment that I just couldn't pull myself out of bed hardly even because the exhaustion was so great. So it was really difficult to parent through treatment. And I'm really grateful that my husband was there beside me. And I mean, he took me to radiation most days. Um, and I would always have chemo on Mondays and then, of course, radiation Monday through Friday. And it was in Kansas City, it was 50 miles away. So we drove 50 miles there and 50 miles back. So on
Tiring.
Sunday nights, we would book a room at a hotel called the Raphael in Kansas City. And it was probably about 1 or 2 miles away from the Cancer Treatment Center at KU Med. And so we would get a room there and have a really great breakfast because the rest of the week I wouldn't want to eat very much. And um, yeah, so oddly enough, I still love that hotel. I don't have any bad memories
Oh,
associated with
cool.
it. And that's actually probably one of my favorite things because we were able to do that, just the 2 of us. So I actually got some extra time with him
Yeah.
that I wouldn't have had, otherwise. So yeah, yeah.
It's
And I know
amazing.
that yeah, so we were diagnosed around the same time. How did your diagnosis affect you and affect you and your husband?
Well, Biden and I were just like, I think it was only a year that we've been dating. And I told him, you know what, we're not going to be able to have kids. I have cancer, and I explained, and if you want to like break free, you can do it because I know we're just dating. Is this going to be? I wasn't even sure in that moment, but he says he's stuck around. I hope he's like super glue. He's stuck forever. Yes. And one of the hardest things I think was to accept my infertility, that I would not be able to have children.
Yeah,
It's curious because I never wanted to when I was like working and everything because I was so excited I get to travel and do everything. But it was my choice.
yes,
Now that I remember the first treatment, my chemo and then radiation, I had them on the same on Mondays I would receive chemo and radiation, and then the rest of the week radiation. I remember I didn't even want to sit down in the chemo chair, and the doctor said, Carla, we have to start. Like, no, because I know that once I sit down, I'm not going to have kids. And I didn't even know that was affecting me so much until that moment. And
yeah,
we've had to like unravel all of that trauma. And I
yeah,
looked for professional help because, yeah, it was something that I couldn't because I would cry. Like, my I I had friends that were getting pregnant and everything. And I'm like, I'm so happy for you, but then I go like, I want to. So, but now it's like, yeah, it took time, a lot of time to work through that trauma. But we've been doing great, and we live together, and we're happy. I hope he is. Okay, I'm kind of a pain. Yes, it's been awesome. Like, having the support helps a lot, and
yeah,
he's been able to, and we get to talk. I mean, when you were saying like having that alone time, we do that too. I'm like, there's sometimes we just like open a bottle of wine or whiskey, depending on, and we just start talking, and I get to like tell him how I'm feeling, how sometimes when radiation enteritis kicks in, or when I'm having a flare, or my ostomy is going crazy. And I get to talk to him about stuff, and he gets to tell me how he feels too. So I think it has given us like, we love each other, but there's more friendship too. So I love it. I love the
that's
relation.
amazing.
Yeah,
Maybe that hardship maybe brought you guys even closer.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We're gonna, stay. He stays. Uh, yeah, well, Yeah, I told him a pain. But
Well, are you going to the summit? Are you excited for the cervical cancer summit?
I'm excited for the Cervical Cancer Summit. I'm sad that I won't be there in person, but happy for technology, internet, and everything that I get to be there virtually. So,
Good.
yes, I'm excited. I
Mm.
can't wait. It's
I'm going to miss seeing you though. It's going to be strange not having you at a Survivor event.
I know. I mean, I'm gonna miss your hugs. Honestly, I'm gonna miss hugging everyone. You know that connection is amazing, but I'll get to see you online.
Exactly.
Are you packed
Yes,
up and ready?
I'm not. I have to pack after we're done here because I get to go and be in person. So I'm really excited to be there. And so I'll make sure that I give hugs for you. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Tell them
Okay.
all my love. When are you traveling? You soon?
I leave tomorrow morning. Ms. Karen North and I are going to fly together. So I'm excited
Oh
to see her
wow!
tomorrow.
Oh, that's
And so, yeah,
amazing.
in the morning. And hopefully it's not icy. It's been icy here. So hopefully there's no
Yes,
issue.
they will. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. I've been seeing the posts on Survivor Instagram and Facebook of the panelists and everything. Oh,
Mhm.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get online to see everything that's gonna go on.
It's gonna be such a good conference, and
Yeah.
so if anyone is on here watching us chat with each other, if you have not signed up and you would want to go virtual with Miss Karla, then you should definitely go check it out at survivor.org.
Yes, and I know they have a link on the Survivor Instagram page that you can link on.
Oh,
And
perfect.
yes, so please come and hey, be my company. We'll be online. I
Yep, Karla
promise
will
to
be
behave.
represented. She's
I'm
the
just
best.
yeah. Oh, but I mean, I've been to the other summits. I've been to Survivor events, and even if you think you already heard it, seen it, no, each one is totally different. You get to meet more people. Networking is amazing. Being able to share stories, hear stories, the importance of our stories and how we can make change. So to get to know more in 2024.
No more in 2024. I
I
love that.
love that. I love it. We need no more in 2024.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, look at us. We actually did it. I can't believe that. I've been so nervous about this. I know we're still alive, but I've been so nervous. I'm just so happy to have been here with you today. And thank you, Anne. And I'll see you at the summit this
Right.
weekend.
I love you, Miss Carla. I'm so glad
I
that we
love
did this
you. Yes. Love
together.
you
All right.
all.
Love
Buenas
you
noches.
all. Later.
Night.